Any sound now? Check, check, check. Okay, yay. People can finally hear me. Now let's get Freeze back on this. Okay, guys, just so that I know that you guys can hear me now. I'm getting Freeze back on the stream. Apparently, there was something going on my end, so I'm all good with it. Could have been a software conflict or a hardware conflict. All good. All right, let's see. All right. Okay, let's try to get that back up and running. And guys, so sorry about this. We usually get this stuff set up ahead of time so that we can debug this stuff. Then yeah, cha cha cha. Okay, there we go. We got Freeze. Not sure if he can hear me. There you go. I can hear you too. Oh man. All right, guys.
That
So,
background is tough.
oh, thanks. That's my Nemesis bridge.
Can you actually hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yay.
I
We
can
did something.
I can see you and I can hear you. So yay, finally. Guys, thanks for being in the chat.
Nice.
Sorry about the delay on everything. We've gone through the presets a couple of times before, never had this problem. So thank you for being patient with us. Okay, so this idea originally came out a couple of weeks ago about when I was compiling my end of year review video, and I was just like, wait a minute. We all have something to say, players and content creators alike. Why don't we do this as a quorum type thing? And sadly, Solja and Waza, they were busy just due to scheduling conflicts. They couldn't make it, but our boy Freeze here was able to dedicate some time to it. So again, bro, thank you for coming on and addressing this. And so we've just got there's a lot we can review over this last 2025. We I personally think we had more downs than we did ups, but overall I think it was a decent year overall. And Freeze, you can
Yeah,
still
no
hear, right?
problem.
Oh, do we have some latency?
You know what? I think I'm hearing you through the YouTube and not through
The
the
player.
program that we using.
Okay. Well, either way, as long as you can hear me, because it does seem to be like a little latent, but it's okay. I can pause for that. Hmm. Isn't it always that way? Okay, so tracks. As you can see, I've got my beautiful, nice new little Nemesis bridge. So we're upgrading the Decepta Lab. So that's why you see what you see behind Freezius. We're going to give the Decepta Lab a major rehaul and overhaul. We may even include some cells for test subjects. We don't know yet. But, okay, so yeah. I had a great Christmas and a New Year. I got this kick-ass... Where the hell? There it is. I got this kick-ass tumbler from my daughter. My new Deceptive Con Dark Energy container. I got this t-shirt that you can partially see in the video. So I'm a happy little Decepticon this year. All right. Freezer, is there still a delay on your side, bro? I think there is. Ooh, okay. Ow, I just hit the mic.
Yeah, it's delaying for sure.
Ooh.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't think that. Let me try something because I don't think I can hear you. I'm hearing you on the YouTube itself,
Okay.
not the actual platform.
Ooh, all right. There's the solo cup everybody was waiting for. All right, let's double check. Oh, I'm playing with the wrong one. Or, yeah, okay, that's the right window. Then let me double check a thing on my settings real quick. It might be over here. Should be good. All right, let's try it now. Any delay? Wow. Jeez. How many times does that have to happen? I cannot hear freeze now. I lost freeze. Okay, I had lost your audio there for a second. Try again.
For a second, it said you muted me.
Yeah, weird. I didn't touch it, but okay. Let me see. Yeah, it said that you were muted. That was weird. Okay, but I can hear you now. So that's good. you seem to be pretty good now, right, Freeze? Ooh, still bugged, still delayed.
Yeah, it seemed like it's still somewhat of a delay.
Seems better than it was. But let me see what's going on here. Okay. All right. Let's. Hey, I'm seeing my mic work on your side, or your mic work on my side, rather. Still sounds like you're getting a delay, though, Freeze. Okay, there's my mic. Yeah, I see mine. I saw your spike, Freeze. Still no luck hearing me?
Yeah, it's a delay.
Damn. All right. All right. We'll try one last thing. I'm gonna disconnect from the Video Ninja and try a Discord call. Wait a minute. Hooah. Let's see. I want to turn my camera off. Have yours on.
I can actually hear you.
Nice.
Okay. Well, hold on. Let me try again. Say something.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I can actually hear you.
All right.
I had to mute the.
Yeah. Okay. That's. Hey, we're on progress. Slowly making progress. Gosh, I don't know how these things freaking just keep going from time to time, on stuff like this.
Yeah, it's never been this difficult.
No, it never has. There we go. And I got you back up. We're back up on the stream. Now, hopefully we have some audio. Hopefully.
Well, I said I was able to hear you.
They can hear you.
Oh, nice. Hey, and they can see me now, too.
All right. All right. That's a plus. Finally. Okay. Whew. Now, I gotta get back.
Hey, look, just remember whatever you did this time for next time.
Right? Right? Holy crap. I mean, well, we went through Video Ninja, we went through Discord, we went through a couple of things. Man, whew. But yeah, I'm saving these settings right now. Because hell, no, I don't want to go through this again, because this was set up with our original settings that you and I had. So I don't know why the hell.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So I was just like, I don't get it. It's weird.
Yeah, right? Okay, well, this is my new Nemesis bridge. Like, you've got the Deceptilab, which is currently upgrading. I've got the Nemesis bridge. So we'll probably have to convince some. Well, they're Autobots. They're not going to convince to get a cool background like us. But Freeze, you disappeared again. If it's not one thing, it's another. But god dang it, we had it. And yet I can see you just fine. Oh, I see. All right. I think I know what the dealio is. Okay, we'll leave it like that for right now. It sucks, but I can see you. It looks like the guys can now see you. So, whew. All right, cool. Well, thanks, guys. It only took us, 40 minutes into our video time to get set up properly. Yay! The wonders of technology.
Right.
But, So I'm just gonna start all over again. So give me just a second, and we'll get this finally underway. Okay, where is everything? I've lost all my windows now. All right, there we go. And it should be above us, but to hell with it. I'm tired. All right, hey guys, that was my intro, which totally got screwed up because we stayed on top of it, but it's all right. No big deal. It wouldn't be a day without technical difficulties.
At all.
So I got Freeze.
I know I've had.
Right.
I've had my fair share.
Right. All right. So thanks, guys, for being patient with us while we got all this stuff sorted by. This really should not have happened, but it did. So welcome to 2026. Usually, yes, it has sound, but I'm not gonna fight with everything today. It took us 45 minutes just to get both of us on here. So, but yeah, so I've got my nice new Nemesis bridge set up here, just like Freezius has got his Deceptilab. So us con ones, we're just gonna keep rocking out with the awesome backgrounds. So yeah, 2025. What a weird year in Earth Wars. I mean, we had some ups, we had some major downs, we had a lot of rage quitting. I mean, there's no way to really put a positive spin on it other than thank God 2025 is done. I mean, whew. What a year. And no, it's not going to be a 15-minute stream. We generally allocate about an hour and a half tracks, so we still got plenty of time. So all right, Freeze, you want to start off with anything?
Just I hadn't been on since the holidays, so I was just Happy New Year to everybody. Ready to get back into everything. I needed some of the rest and stuff like that. So, just looking forward to talking about how last year went and what we want to talk about for the new year.
Cool. Yeah. So I've got some talking points that we can go on about, and probably we could beat a dead horse to death because that's what we do here in the Earth Wars community is we got to beat everything to death and then revive it so we can kill it some more. But oh man, okay, I know that Freeze, when you and we were talking about it, I said I may or may not broach this subject, but I think I'm gonna drop this one. So and Freeze can attest to this because he's part of the playtesters group. Oh man, the playtesters went mad this year. We were looking for content, new stuff to test. I think cumulatively it was about maybe 2.5 months of nothing from the playtest side. I mean, I can only respond with how I felt about it on my end. I was like, maybe the rumors are true that maybe finally the game is dying because we're not getting any new content. And then it seems like as soon as we said that, they were like, oh, hey guys, we've got new content for you to check out. And it just seemed bizarre. It was like they could smell the blood in the water.
Yeah, honestly, and I think a part of the problem is like when that time period happened, when it wasn't a lot of new content. I think the entire beginning part of the year just threw everything off pace because when they weren't sure where their studio was going to be and everything like that. Like, I think they probably came into the year with plans, and what you would have thought is that everything would have just been kind of backlogged and they would have just started building more stuff. And honestly, that kind of happened till end of the year where they were just, hey, we're just going to start pushing everything that we were going to push in like March and April.
Yeah.
but we weren't sure if there was going to be a studio. So, um, I mean, that's my personal take on it. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I can understand it from that way, but considering that they had, at least expressed to us, a large queue of items that we could be going over, when they launched the new build for the Primes, we lost the new defense building, which
Yeah.
which we don't know, is that still up in the air? Is that still going on? Hopefully, I'm hoping beyond hope that new defense building is still in the works because I love the idea behind it.
Yeah.
and
Well, that's a sore spot for me already because the thing is, it's like we were supposed to be approaching HQ 19,
yeah,
and then this was supposed to come out before HQ 19, and now we don't have a status report really on both.
on either one, yeah. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, I know Waza, people are harassing Waza. I don't know about yourself, but also me of when's HQ 19 coming? And I'm just like, last we heard about it was back in November. Haven't heard much since then. Don't know what's going on. Trust me, we're trying to reach out to people. We're trying to find out, so we have answers for you. And I get that the studio's on downtime too. No, I'm not faulting them for taking any downtime because
No.
goodness knows the last 2 weeks I needed some downtime.
Yes.
But I mean, at the same time, it's just like, where are we with things? And then, what? Literally like 3 days or 4 days before Christmas, which was a nice treat. We got the new combat, and it was like,
Yeah.
yes, finally, something's coming down the pike. Not
Right.
what we wanted, but something at least to mess around with, and
Yeah.
which in case anybody hasn't figured it out yet, we were able to spoil just glimpses and stuff. So I abided by that little glimpse rule and did a teaser video on the two new combats. One is a big, very requested fan favorite, finally coming to the game.
Yeah.
And of course, he's on the right side of the game. He's on the Decepticon side. That's all I'm gonna say. Because if I say any more, if I give away any more, it's gonna tell you who it is. And most of the people that are on the stream and in our chat and on the Discord server, they already know. and if these guys don't know by now, it was in the newsletter. I've done a teaser video on it. Waz has done a quick glimpse of it. I think Freezius, that was in his queue. I think he had to rearrange his queue for that because he's like, what?
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything yet. I told him that I would go make one sometime this weekend, so that's probably going to be a tomorrow thing for me.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it's all good. We'll see how it turns out.
And I mean, we've got so much that's coming down the pike. We've got, of course, the Primes, which we will delve into, and I know you've got a lot to say about that, Freezius. Don't think I don't listen, but
For sure.
but overall, I think from the later half of the year definitely got better after the patch upgrade and the content creator controversy. When those two things finally were able to get leveled out, and we were actually finally able to say something like, we're not involved in this, despite the fact being dragged in by other creators and stuff. We're not involved in this. And honestly, I think we took the best course that we could in that regard of just not engaging it. We had to bring up a couple of things individually. Waza did an entire freaking stream on it. Love the guy for that.
Yeah.
But to come into the content creator circle and immediately start laying off shots at us, that we're unprofessional and all this other crap. Granted, I was still new to that circle in the terms that we're talking now, but I had contributed content in other ways, so I wasn't new in that regard. I was kind of like the middleman. I was like, I've been here before, but this is a new one for me. So, just to come off the hill out of the gate taking shots at everybody. It was just crazy, and then just to find out, it was he got removed. That was of his own doing. We didn't have anything to do with that. And then of course the major balance patch that had been undergoing for like 6 months.
Yeah.
The one thing that I loved the most was that people were claiming they didn't tell us this was happening. At least 6 times a week, it got mentioned.
No, I said it was several months worth of work. I remember, like, to be honest with you, in all transparency, there was a group before the group of folks that was looking at it.
Yeah.
Man, it was at least 6 months worth of work, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And
there was a lot. If I recall, the balance patch update started just after the first Cyclonus Powerglide rework, where we were talking about making them an air sniper rather than the evolution engine before they gave us that.
So when they first started talking about that, that was around September. 2024.
Okay. God,
it was just a conversation then. We hadn't actually had anything in our hands.
Yeah, true.
Way too long. But the first time it was mentioned was in September of 24 in playtest and anything like that.
Yeah.
And then from that point forward, it just started turning into, well, we're going to do a balance patch and stuff like that. And overall, I can't call it. I'll see where we're going with the conversation because it's a lot of thoughts that I have about that.
Yeah.
We'll just take it one step at a time.
oh yeah. I mean that was a painful rework. I think one of the most painful we've ever had in playtest was the Cyclonus Powerglide one. Because before they annihilated water, they wanted to add water to them, and we were all like, no, that's not going to work. We could see it for Powerglide, but not for Cyclonus. And then they went back on, and then they gave us a new ability, which seemed really promising, and a lot of the players don't know, but they were going to make them air snipers. Think like, because I think one of the first routes we got with the new Cyclonus Powerglide, we could snipe almost anything on the board. It was beautiful, did great damage. It wasn't underpowered. It wasn't anything spectacular, but it was a major improvement over what we had. And then I think we had that air sniping ability for like 2 weeks, and then they're just like, okay, we're shelving Cyclonus and Powerglide. It's just like, why? We're making progress finally. And then we another thing that really got to us in PT were a lot of the silent reveals, like Cutthroat, the 5-star Cyclonus that finally came out. We didn't have anything to do with these bots. We had no touches. All we got notice of was, hey, they're up.
So I'll tell you this. What I noticed was a pattern that all of the bots that, I just started looking at how the team responds to certain things, and there's certain bots, they were just like, yeah, this bot is overpowered, and it delayed the whole process of making it into a 5-star, and it turned into these becoming web exclusives, because when you start looking at, like, Cutthroat and Trax, you start looking at, like, granted they had an event for Exhaust as well.
Yeah.
But it still wound up being a web store exclusive as well. And it was just like we didn't get to touch any and stuff because I think, and this is just me looking at the patterns, I think that the thought pattern was if we get in there and we start sticking our hands in it, we're going to try to make it even more overpowered. So there's like, hey, here's a standard health and damage increase that you get from 4-star to 5-star. We're not going to do anything else because we're already scared that these bots are going to take over.
Well, and they were right to be scared that way because, I know that a lot of players really do rely on Trax and Cutthroat, and I was just like, if you put this up to a vote, that's going to be the number one bot on the 5-star list is going to be Trax and Cutthroat, and then nothing else is going to matter.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And
not for sure.
And Dale was like, are you willing to bet on that? I said, I'll put your paycheck on it. Tracks will be the number one 5-star vote from the community. And he was just like, okay, you're that confident. And I was like, yeah, that everybody else is not going to, it's going to be a nice addition, but it's not going to be, oh, hey, this is the bot I'm going for. It's going to be, I'm going for Tracks. I'm going for Cutthroat.
And, I mean, and here's my thing. When you start to look at a bot, and the bot, you know, when you look at as long as the game has been around, and you look at a bot, this from day one that he came out has been consistently a factor like that. Like, come on, man. Like, I mean, like, look at some of the bots that it took a really long time to come, for to come out as 5 stars and stuff. Like, you know, there was a one-time period where Deathsaurus was the meta, and then, you know, they kind of pull everything in Deathsaurus, Star Saber for you Autobots. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you look at, like, Tracks and Cutthroat, like, when have you ever looked around and saw that, like, at least some top teams weren't using them?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's gonna be like, bro, I'll be honest with you, like, I don't even think I really leveled mines like that yet, but when he came into the store, I bought him, you know, for sure.
Yeah,
so
he was.
And it's a combiner piece for the Decepticons.
Yeah, and he was a birthday gift for my wife, and I was just like, you know what, free 5-star for my birthday, I'm taking it. You know.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's a real thing, because like when you look at it, you know, combiner bots are already gonna go up in how you go process that whole thing anyway. Because I know, you know, a lot of fans of your stream, you know, they're fans of mine as well, and so I see them in the chat, and I know the guys that are gonna go for combiner pieces.
Oh yeah.
Just because they're combiner pieces, but then he's actually good. You know, he's got good damage for air class. You know, he's you know, for me, as somebody that loves support bots, you know, he's gonna protect that whole team.
Oh yeah.
And you're in a meta where, don't get me wrong, there's going to be some FFD on the field, but it's not going to be the focal point like it once was.
No.
On defense. So yeah,
and
you know,
and I mean, it was nice seeing them. It would have been nice had we gotten our hands on them and playtest first. But you know, I get that they were pushing to deploy some new content out to the players, and I get that. I'm not going to fault them for that. But when we've got a bot that we're being asked questions about, and we don't know any information about it, you know, like what are the stats for the 5-star Tracks? What are they going to do this? How are they going to, you know, I was going back to the team and I was like, guys, I need info on this new 5-star. And then I think
listen,
I think it was a couple of minutes.
This is the defining moment because, you know, and I talk about it on my stream all the time. Content comes out when it comes out. So you know that something is wrong when I start bugging you about the content. Like, Wallace is the kind of guy that'll go beating on your door and he asks questions. And you know, we had conversations about this, so I would feel comfortable saying this out to the public. Like, if you guys want somebody that's going to go up there and just start kicking in doors, you know, go ask Sunstreaker Waza for sure. But I'm the last person. I'm probably the last person that's going to go do that. And when I start doing that, just know, no, there is a problem. I asked it like 3-4 times. I was like, hey man, like, are we going to test this thing? Is there anything that's going to happen? And I think at that point they already knew that we weren't going to go test that. And it was just kind of like, yeah, you know, we're just going to ignore that.
And move on.
And at the end of the day, I understand. But, you know, I'm also the kind of person that if you tell me that directly, it's like, look, man, we're already scared that this is overpowered. We're just going to go add the percentage of health and XP. I mean, XP, health and damage, and move on. I wouldn't have liked it, but I would have accepted it because that's who I always am.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. I always just say like, all right, man, like, you know, just because you would accept an answer
doesn't mean it's the right one.
That you gotta like it.
Yeah. Or that it's the right one. I mean,
yeah, you know, you know how I feel about it, and now I'm gonna be mature enough to say, all right, well, as
crap.
long as I know that you understood. As long as I know that you understood what I was saying, like I will repeat myself or try to find another way to express it to you if you don't understand what I'm saying. But once I'm convinced that you're understanding what I'm saying, and at some point you just got to be like, all right, this is going to be the outcome. F it.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I think kind of hurt everybody in that regard too, and it's funny. It's like they're reading from our notes list about the Titan stuff.
I saw that. I saw that.
I'm like, what the hell? Did I share my notes to everybody? But apparently not.
you probably did.
Probably.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just trying to help people out. But yeah, I get where people are coming from in the terms of the 5-star Titans. They are a little lackluster, and I mean, because we had the 4 stars for so long, and there was no scope presently for the 5 stars except for their extra ability icon that we saw in the Titan Lab, and then I think it was both you and I had stated on, I think I want to say it was the Scorponok 5-star, because I don't think we got much time with Triptychon. It was literally here he shakes Earth, But I think it was with the Scorponok one. You and I are just like, what the hell did you guys do to the Titan? It's not doing anything.
Well, I think by the time we get to the Scorponok one, was that the time when they decided that we weren't going to have any rock paper scissors stuff?
Yeah, that's when they were talking about the introduction of the new one, and they're just like, well, right now, we've got Metroplex that can beat Fort Max. Fort Max can beat the Arc. The Arc can beat Metroplex. How are we going to handle that? That
was a mistake.
It really was.
Did not do that. Yeah.
Because that breaks the paradigm of the next Titan coming in. Because either everybody's going to clamor for it, or they're not going to want it at all.
Well, I think the thing is, I think because there was going to be 4, total. I think ultimately that was the problem, because when you just do rock paper scissors, then it was like, yeah, that's cool, and I really love the concept. If they would have fixed it, if they would have made it to where it was actually really relevant, because they did have some bugs and stuff in there, but once you add a 4th one, the balance is off by default because it's 4.
Yeah, instead of the rock paper scissors, we got rock paper scissors lizard, and it's like I'm waiting for Spock to show up, but it's just like, holy crap, because from what I've heard, they have 2 Titans planned. Depth charge for the cons is the next one that I've heard. I cannot substantiate that. I cannot tell you when it's coming or anything like that.
We're talking rumors at this point. Look, people want to hear something,
Yeah.
I've been hearing something similar. Yeah, for sure.
But I definitely feel that depth charge is going to be the next con, and I've heard the Autobot vary from everybody from Armada, Metroplex, to Metro Titan, and I can't get anything nailed down on that end except that depth charge is going to be one of the new Titans. That's the only thing I'm able to get locked down is that depth charge is coming.
That's well, yeah.
But I understand where the player base is coming from in the terms of the 5-star Titans are way too expensive for what you get, and I do agree with them in that. I really do, because aside from a new ability, some increased health and increased damage, we don't even have any perks for a 5-star Titan in the tree yet, in the Titan Tech tree.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The Titan Tech tree, at one point we were talking about completely revamping that, and then you could just go in there and pick and choose where the points would go. What happened to that?
The last I heard, that got pushed back on the things of to do, and they're concentrating, from last I heard, which was back in November, that they're pushing forward with the new content. So it's gonna, I doubt
And that's
we're
what
gonna
I'm
get.
saying.
I
And
doubt we're gonna get that revamp yet.
and you just described the problem. Like, someone during these slow times, like, go in there and try to take a look at some of this stuff, and, like, I mean, even if you don't actually go make content, if you go in there and just look at everything that you were trying to do, and then just build a plan and say, hey, like, you know, summertime, for example. Summertime comes around, and they go take like a summer break and stuff like that.
Great,
You
but
know,
don't launch an
yeah,
event. Don't launch new
reevaluate.
content.
Take 1 week to chill, and take 1 week to like reevaluate. It'll just be like an NFL team, man. NFL team have a bye week. That first week they chill. That second week they back on their grind. They looking at everything that needs to go forward, and that's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's how I would go about it.
and I mean, so far favorably with the new combat that we have, we are getting good feedback from both other playtesters. And I saw a couple of the team members chime in earlier this week, so they are aware and they know that we are breaking the hell out of this new combat because we wanted them for years, but which then in that case leads me to the 5-star combiners. They rolled those out, in my opinion, a little too fast, right back to back. I mean, we had God Neptune, then we had Predaking, and those two were the first two that got launched, and I personally feel that they got pre-launched too quick. That's my opinion. We still had problems with God Neptune on playtest. That got rolled out to live, and then they're just like, yeah, we'll address it. Here's the next 5-star combiner, and it's just like, no, we need to address this now before we roll the second one out, because people are and the players did, not just us, not us playtesters, but the players. They compared and contrasted, and they're just like, yeah, what did you guys do? Did you not listen to anybody? And we're like, yeah, no, they didn't.
And the combiner thing is actually the 2025 combiner situation is a really polarizing thing for me personally, because on one hand, everything that you just said is true, right?
Yeah.
There's a second side of that where I'm just looking at it like, and I wish they would have articulated it this way, because there's a second side of that where I was like, clearly they wanted every combiner to be very, very unique. I think that the gap that they had where they didn't know where the studio was going to be came into effect. But I'll just go through some of the things that I really liked that they did with the combiners, and I think it might actually pull more attention to, where my mindset is. So, when we first started out, first off, when we first started off the year, granted that was still a 4-star.
Yeah.
Dino King and Raiden, they started doing events for that, and the purpose in that, I feel like, is like, we were starting to get in a lot of new players at that point in time. I know that, and you probably seen the same thing.
Yeah.
Where people started joining into your Discords and your live streams and stuff like that, and your content. They started engaging more with the content. So it was definitively a lot of newer players coming in. And when you're a newer player, one of the things that you start looking at is, I remember when I was a noob and I was like, I just want to combine it so bad. Any combiner, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? So that was a good move, even though like some of the vets didn't like it, because it's like, oh, this is going to take too long. And there are no bots involved. It was a good move just to increase engagement.
Engagement, yeah. And that's exactly what I feel that was. That was a push for engagement. And
For sure.
And that was a great push. It may not have given them the numbers that they were expecting or seeing, but I saw it I saw a huge increase of at least 25% in the player base being reactive, being positive to it. Even some of the veterans were like, crap, I already have this spot, but I'm still going for it anyway, because it gives you shards. It's forward movement, no matter how minuscule or major it might seem. And so I mean that was definitely a good shot in the arm for the combiners, but then it just seems like everything fell apart after they dropped Predaking. You know, Predaking was
Well,
supposed to be the fire combiner. You know, God Neptune was supposed to be the cryo one. You know, that was my understanding of it. You know.
I think that the biggest thing is they might have explained it. I don't want to say poorly 'cause when they said it. I think I might have understood it. So I'll break it down like this. So like Predaking and Volcanicus, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'll use my alliance as an example. You get a good share of people to go use, particularly Dead End Cupsack,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Still.
Predaking and Volcanicus is this the quintessential combiner for that. Like that's peak sack strategy because what typically happens with sack is you get everybody back down, you get all the bots down into one spot.
And then they just get obliterated. Yeah.
Yeah, and that ability, those abilities, because you got abilities. But what people didn't like about Predaking and Volcanicus is, he's a glass cannon. But what I like about him is that, and it's really weird for me, and that's like, it's funny because I was talking about earlier how Sunstreaker was, and I talk about how our personalities are different in terms of how we play.
Yeah. I hear that contradiction all the time.
But he's a high damage guy. I'm a more of a support survival type of guy, and I love the damage. And then I love when you go look at something like Predaking and Volcanicus. When you look at something like Skids and Knockout. When you go look at bots like that are just doing multiplier damage on outpost bots, count me in.
Oh,
count
definitely.
me in because
I do agree with you. I can also see Waz's side of it. He's looking for the sustainability and survivability of it, and I know you are. We all are.
Yeah,
but at the same time,
we were talking about it about 2 weeks ago. Like I get it, but I can come back to that later on because there's a reason why I'm like that. But go on.
But and then I guess now it's going to kind of start the downward slope of 2025. All the rushed substandard content that came out. I mean, it was bad because normally in playtest we generally get about 2 weeks before it goes live, and that's generally enough time for us to get into what we as playtesters feel as an acceptable deployment stage. But this year we only got like 3 bots and 2 combats, something like that this year, and they all seem to be just okay, not great, nothing really fabulous to talk about. I mean, they introduced a new game mechanic with the damage in, damage out multiplier that we got with Demolisher and Overload. And I'm not saying they're bad bots. They've definitely made improvements to them since their launch, which seems to be typical. But, I mean, it's like they took all of our post feedback before launch and then finally was like, yeah, these guys are right, and then threw it into the game. But, I mean, honestly, when Demolisher and Overload were released, I was not impressed with them. I was like, okay, this is Trailblazer and Exhaust with a weapon. That's how I saw it. I was just like, okay, great. They shield and now they can shoot. We could have just made this an Exhaust rework, But
I agree with you. I looked at it that way at first as well, and so I'm gonna start off by saying my alliance, they love this dude. So I started looking at it closer, and the key thing that started messing with me is that when we were all using Exhaust, Exhaust will follow whatever the team is doing. So because I wanted to do a similar strategy. I wanted to go use my Cronus. I wanted to just have them follow the team. Demolisher doesn't do that. But then and that's actually an excellent segue into what I was going to talk about next.
Go for it.
When they started going into it, it made perfect sense. When I started looking at Tip Top and Peacemaker, and I was like, yeah, now you almost kind of need this dude because Tip Top and Peacemaker, you don't know when they're gonna pop up. You can go really, really, really closely watch the replays, but you don't know when they're going to pop up. And that hacking is so prevalent now in the current meta that now I understand why a lot of people are using um,
Yeah, Demolisher
Demolisher.
and Overload. And again, like I said, we finally got the bot that we were looking to spec from playtest two
Yeah,
months after it went live. If they had come out with this, with the bot that we have now, when we were at playtest, I think we would have all been singing its praise. Waza, Soul, you, me would be like, yeah, this is a must-have bot right now. But when
yeah,
at the time that it was given to us, it was just like, okay, it's just another shield. Great, you know.
yeah,
And then
for
and
sure.
and I mean, then we got Gears and Quake. We were so excited for it for Gears and Quake. And again, in
Right.
my opinion, that seemed like such a letdown. I mean, I remember the PT chat just exploding with like, "What the hell did you give us?" And that's the nice personal way. Freeze can tell you the discussions were far more explicit than that in playtest when we got Gears and Quake, because it was
They,
just like,
hmm
because it was just like,
they,
we have expectations for this bot. You're not meeting them at all.
yeah, and the thing is like, and not to make this like into a sad thing or anything. Like I said, I remember when that came out because I was right shortly after my son had passed, and when we were going through that, like, this is one of the ones they actually gave me that one because they knew that I was going to go for it and I was going through some stuff. So shout out to the team for that. But like, all they had to do, in my opinion, for this bot was just give it a little bit more range. Like its ability range is like medium. Like you use glass
Yeah.
gas. Glass gas is not doing.
What it?
Most glass gas bots aren't doing a lot of damage. And
No.
so like I'm gonna have to combo that. Let me range that out
Yeah.
so that we can do that. And if you do that, I'm good.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that
It's
was.
just that one thing.
I think that was our major complaint was,
It was a
okay,
major complaint. Yeah.
you guys are dead set on having it this way. Fine, we've conceded to that, but give us some range with this bot, because I remember in the
Yeah.
playtest, just before, like the week before he came out, we were still saying we need range, because by the time that we bring this bot in to use anything, he's dying on us. And that was frustrating at the very least.
Hey, listen. I can find a way to get him to survive as long as he's doing something that's of enough value for me to put that much emphasis on him. Like that range it's crippling. It's like I'm just gonna be honest with you. That range that he has is crippling and makes him unappealing. And even when we went through now two content patches, and we were
Yeah,
still saying the same thing as
we need
playtesters. Like,
range.
man, like, push it out, push it out. Like, bro, he's not destroying anything. You're gonna use mad points to try to go do this. Like, make it work.
Yeah, like,
In our favor,
and
in our
I
benefit.
and I think in the Christmas challenge he had a slightly extended range, because I could hit targets from the launch pad with him, which I could
This is
not
what
do
bothers me.
normally.
This is what bothers me about the whole thing. You can go, you can go and have like Dreadwing, and go in there and have like a little cluster of glass gas, and it's fine. Why are y'all, safeguarding this one bot that heavily? I, you know what? I ain't gonna say nothing else about it because it's gonna turn negative. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying, I like
we've
I
had
was
we've had
clutching
that
my
argument. Yeah, we've had that argument.
no. Well, I was clutching my pearls because I had just got Dreadwing, I had, maxed out and all this stuff when right around the time the content patch was coming out, and I was just like, man, they're gonna take him from me. This is the one time that I was acting like the bulk of the rest of the community. I was like, man, like this is gonna go bad, and then they didn't really do anything, and so I was just like, well, what's the difference? You know what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, some bots with the content patch we saw some major improvements with.
For
Others,
sure.
others were like, okay, we know this was in the list. we know that they've been addressed because we can see their updated tooltips or their updated graphics or whatever, but the bot hasn't changed. What's going on? And then we found out after the first patch of the update patch that they hadn't pushed the changes that we had refined pre-patch or something like that. I was like, oh man, and that was kind of nuts. I felt really sorry for the team, but I also felt really sorry for the players at the same time because I was like, we as playtesters and as content creators, we've been really pumping this patch. We're loving this patch, we're loving the changes in it. And then by the time it got to the players, they weren't seeing anything near what we had, and it was just like, guys, we're not lying to you. I swear, we're not lying to you. This will come. These things do exist. We can show you. But by then the community was too pissed off with how bots like Leo Prime and stuff had gotten their range reduction.
Words out my mouth. You took the words out my mouth.
And I get where the team was coming from in one aspect of that, but there was really nothing they had to change with Leo Prime. Antagony got the change that we needed. I do agree with that. But I think in terms of Leo Prime, it could have used a range reduction and maybe a slight cost increase, but that would have been about it in my opinion.
So here's the thing. They started trying to change too much. When they got the Leo Prime and Predacon Inferno, they changed like 3 things, man. Like they changed the range, they changed the cost, and then they changed the damage itself. I personally, and I've already said this on live stream, people can hate me for it. The damage they probably got right. I didn't have to change anything else after that to me. Because when you go tell me that if a bot gets a G1, which I got very easily, if you go change the G1 and G1 with the G1 is doing like 20k damage, this bot's going to be elite for the next 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
If the game will see it. So when they cut the damage, I understood. And I was like, hey, it's still in a position. Now, my concern was that, like, when HQ19 comes out, it might not be able to do what it used to do. But then you cut the range and stuff. Here's my take. If you're that concerned, you should always, as a company, you can always just start with the cost first. This second content patch they had, there's a few exceptions, but it was damn near perfect. You know what I'm saying? Because
it really was.
You started looking at the data, and you said, "Hey, this is the data. Like everybody's using this. Why are they using this?" You started looking into it harder and say, "Hey, let's just go change the cost as opposed to changing the bot." I've always, and I've been content creating now for about 4 years, and I've always said the same thing. And I was like, if you go change something, you got to go look at. I've been saying, like, look at the cost because, like, if you go, somebody likes that bot the way that it was. Like, when we start doing Legacy, I was like, look, somebody likes what that bot does. Somebody does. And you're cheating them out of that. So,
yeah, and
I hate to use the cheat word, but like somebody likes it exactly as it is. Try to go through another avenue first.
Yeah. The patch itself had some issues, from the get-go.
I'm sorry. I want to address one comment.
Yeah, go for it.
My brother Cheeto from the Horde, he says your entire alliance is not like Overlord. I didn't say that. At least I don't think I did.
You said the majority of them. You said the majority of them.
I said the majority of them. I said because I know that he doesn't like them. I know I don't. Like him as much as other people do, but I've been trying to work him in. I know Cheeto don't like him at all, so I don't think I said that. I'm gonna cuss you out later. but I appreciate the comment.
But no, and Cheeto, he did say the majority of the alliance, not all of the alliance. He did say that. But but no,
I mean,
I was sitting here and I was like, should I even mention this comment? And yeah, so thank you, Freeze. Thank you, Freeze, for seeing that, because I was like, I don't want to start any shit between Cheeto and Freeze now. You know, I love both of these guys. They're awesome.
hey, Cheeto's a shit starter. I'm a shit starter, so that's what makes our relationship work. Shout out to Cheeto, you know.
Yeah.
But
no, man,
yeah,
Cheeto's awesome.
That's fucking hilarious.
The whole alliance. No, we didn't say the whole alliance. We'll have to check the replay because we might be wrong on that.
That's why I say. That's why I say. That's why I say. I don't think that I said that, but because I know everybody doesn't like him, but like 90%, maybe 95, like him.
All right, stop triggering Cheeto, dude. I respect the guy too much. All right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a popular bot in our alliance. Final statement.
There you go. All right. That's the PG safe one. There you go. There you go. Oh man. But you know,
man, I love it here. Just
and I think one of the other major misunderstandings with the legacy patch was that there were a lot of underlying foundational mechanics changes that a lot of people did not want to accept. You know, about how to use a bot, how to use some of the combiners that we got through the patch, you know, because people got so used to using them. I'm guilty of it. I know that you probably are too, you know.
Well, now some of y'all guilty as hell. I seen some comments already in the chat today. We will probably talk about it.
Yeah, but I mean, and you know, I tried to do my best part of underlying all these mechanics changes, and they weren't forthright in giving them a lot to us. I mean, I think it was you, me, and Waza. We all figured out that there was that fundamental building change that they did, and I don't even remember which building it was. But you know, they did they did that major damage increase on one of the buildings, and it was just like, this was supposed to be a bot patch, not a building patch. But and then they did another damage reduction on the headquarters just after that and didn't tell us about it. Well, they did tell us about it, but they told us like at the same time that they did it. They're like, "Oh, hey, we just pushed a
Don't remind me.
That damage reduction patch." Oh man. That caused so much hell amongst everybody. Yeah, and I'm with you. I don't want to revisit that one because we're having a good time now. And you know, it kind of is a little bit all encompassing. You know, we had some substandard bots that came out this year, and yeah, I'm looking over my notes, and there were like 3 primary bots and 2 combats. I might be missing somebody.
Run through the. And the thing is, I probably can pull it up because I still got the list that we wrote when we was talking through this. But like, let's run through it real quick. Cool.
Give me a second while you pull that up. Chat. I'll be right back. I've got to go take an Autobot break, so I'll be right back.
Yeah. All right. So that's actually tough because so we're looking at Armada Scavenger and Armada Wheeljack. So for me, and I actually ran them on my squad for a little while, just because I typically go and do all the endurance events. This is one of the ones where I'm just looking at it like, they do what a lot of the other rush warriors do. So from that aspect, you know, it wasn't really too much. It was too new, you know, it was just like, hey, you know, he's gonna have his shield, you know, he's gonna have a little bit more damage. I thought that the reason why I leveled him up is because I thought that there was going to be more. I thought there was going to be more of a damage boost than there actually was.
Yeah, our Armada Scavenger and Wheeljack, like you said, it was just another Warrior Rush bot, and we've got a couple of legacies that I could mention by name. You know, Ironhide and Bludgeon for one, that do their job, do it very damn well, and in my opinion, do it better than the new guys.
Yeah, and that's what it was. So it's like you don't. When I go describe, you know, the Armada Scavenger and Woods, I got to tell people, I said, look, you don't have to go get them. Like I'm very explicit about that part. I say you don't have to go get them just to go get them. I say you're gonna get what you can get, and all the other ones have elements. Now there are some players that are very, very afraid of elements. There's like they're gonna get nerfed or whatever. I think that's, I don't want to call it an irrational fear, because you know there's gonna be seasons. You know, there's gonna be seasons where they, you know, I remember when they would just, when fire became the meta, it was just like, oh man, you know, I remember when acid became the meta.
Yeah,
you know, they were just like, they just like, oh, acid sucks because it's damage over time, and you know, we hate that damage over time.
and
it
it was
can
like,
go to hell.
and
You
it's
know,
like, and it's like, why do you hate that? That is a wonderful thing. And then of course, when they brought it in that now acid also negates healing, people loved it all of a sudden. It was just like, what?
for sure.
You know, fickle
sure.
at times, you know. And I get it, because it was missing something. It totally was. I am not arguing that, and I still feel that even now with Armada, Wheeljack, and Scavenger, something still is missing from them. And I mean, they're cramming a lot into these bots now. You know, the new bots. You know, they're doing damage reduction and reflection and health increases and all this stuff, and it's just like, give us one singular purpose. I get that they're trying to help us address with multiple strategy, but at the same time, it's just like, give us a bot that does something well.
Well, here's what I thought was going to happen, and it didn't happen. I thought Armada Wheeljack was going to turn into Barricade. You know, I thought he was going to be like, he was going to just have like high damage and stuff, and which, at my core, and I've said this on my stream, I you know, little tank be a tank. I thought he was gonna be a hybrid tank / like damage dealer.
Yeah.
But then I started looking at the numbers, and I was like, you know, my primary tank is Bludgeon, Ironhide for you Autobots.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my primary rush tank.
And still holds up.
But listen, people question it the entire time, and people still continue to question it at times. But I was like, hey, Tip Top and Peacemaker, you know who doesn't stun you? And look, here's the thing, I got incredible pattern recognition, so that includes time. So I was like, oh man, they're about to go shoot off Tip Top and Peacemaker, and I'll just stun. You can't. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What you gonna do? You're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss it. So you're gonna miss that opportunity. And my guys, now I started using Tip Top on offense. So now you're gonna be hacked and I'm not. So those are the kind of things that I look at. You know, I don't just look at, oh, just damage. There's a reason for all that. You know?
Oh yeah. But I mean, what the consensus for Armada, Wheeljack, and Scavenger was like, oh great, another warrior. I mean, we barely pushed it along. We're just like, you're gonna do whatever you guys are gonna do with it.
For sure.
And they pretty much did. We didn't give much feedback on them because we were just like, any feedback that we're gonna give is not gonna be in scope for them, and you know, we're just gonna. It's just better that we let them bring it out the way they want to, and we just move on. It really was a lot easier in that regard with them. And then we got shortly before that or after that, I don't remember. We got the Armada Star Saber and the Armada Dark Saber. It's just like,
Well, that's what I
Okay.
thought was going to be the key. I thought that was going to be like the missing link, and that there was going to be some master plan that turned into, you using that together. And I actually talked to Waza about it. I said, hey, I'm thinking something. What do you think about this? And Waza told me then, he was like, nah, that's not happening. And then he was right.
It didn't happen, no. But I know where you're going with that, because I think you, me, and
Yeah.
Waza had that three-way convo on Discord about that, and it's just like it's not going to happen as much as we would like it to.
Yeah, he was like, in theory it should, but he's like, it's not. And then I tried it, and then I maxed him out and everything. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be lit. And I put him on my war team for about 2 weeks, and he was, and Waza was like, yeah, I told you.
Yeah, that's one thing I do both love and hate about Waza is he can foresee this stuff, and then he's like, I told you I was going to be right, and you're like, yeah, but at least you can see where I was going with my track of thought with it. And he's like, yeah, but I knew you were wrong.
Nah, it's not even.
It's not even that. But
we accept that we have to. And I was alluding to this earlier, and we have this conversation all the time. Like, I have a play style where I was just like, hey, I'm gonna go use a lot of support bots. I'm gonna do survivability, and the reason why I do that, and I did say I was gonna come back to that, and I'm gonna keep to my word, is because when I first started becoming an actual decent player, um, I had more warriors than anything, like more quality warriors. I did not have gunners. I did not have good quality healers, and so for me, I just said this is my way of protecting my survivability, and there'll be wars all the way back down when I was like in silver and gold league, where I'm just in there just fighting all the way down to the buzzer. So like now when I do have good gunners and good air class and stuff like that, um, it's a lot easier to me because I'm used to the days when I was looking at the last few seconds, with all my real warrior heavy team, because that's all I had, and just winning it like that. So that's why I started getting real big on the supports, real big. I say health became a real big thing for me.
oh yeah, and it still is, and I don't disagree with how you play. Actually, I'm kind of like in the middle between you and Waza. You know,
Yeah,
uh, I like a lot of people, and like Twilight and Sharksy and those guys. They'll 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 playfully ridicule me for it because I don't depend on any healers in most of my squads. Now, what I do is I do depend on support bots. Like
yeah,
Crankcase, um, some of the triple changers that have support abilities, stuff like that. Those I will lean on, but I won't lean specifically on a healer and stuff. So I kind of play in between you guys, where Waza is all about deployment and longevity, and you are damage, and you're more of the deployment longevity, get me where I need to go as effectively
right.
as I can. Where Waza is a little smash bam, I make it go boom. In some of his strategies, I've told him this before,
Yeah,
but he's a great player. He can play with strategy, and brute force
oh
can
yeah,
be a strategy. But I tend to play somewhere in the middle of you guys' extremes.
yeah.
Because you're over here, you're like, nah, man, you got to play it this way. Make your bots last longer. You'll get to that base. And Wallace is just like, Freeze, love you, but if I play it this way, I just go straight to the base. You know?
And look, and both of us got both of us have an ability to just get it done in completely and totally opposite different ways, man. Like he
And
just
which goes to emphasize the fact that the
yeah,
game, there's no one right way or one wrong way to play this game. You
which is the
play it
whole
one,
point of me starting my channel. That was the whole point of me starting my channel.
yeah,
It's like, man, like there's multiple different ways. When I started the channel, it was like for me to go make poor man's versions, to go do everything. So like going back to the original topic, Armada, you could look at Armada Wheeljack or something like that. That's a poor man's version. Just
Yeah, but
yeah,
I mean, overall, I think overall we got some pretty good stuff this year. Eventually, not right from
eventually,
launch, you know.
eventually, yeah,
And
I agree with that.
and now I'm gonna regret this because I know you're gonna get heated and passionate and pissed off. It's time for
I
you
am
to. It's time for your primes discussion, bro.
for sure, for sure.
Now,
Um,
one thing I'm going to interject before you go off on your tirade, positively and negatively, as I think they finally got the launching sequence down with Solus of doing the prime and the artifact in the same event. That I think was smart. That was a good change from the Megatronus event and then the Requiem Blaster event. And
okay.
now the wheel is yours.
Now, so the biggest thing for me is I think there is a gap between community expectations and what's actually plausible for the longevity of the game. Because, we say, hey, these are primes in the lore, they're supposed to dominate this, that, and the other. That's cool, but at the same time, even with the new war effects, you got like top players that is like, yeah, it's too easy. So you want to go add another, you want to go add another, character that makes the game too easy for you. You saying it's already too easy? Make it make sense. So like, on the same token, that's the. I'll be generous. I say if that's the top 10% of the game. So now you got 90% of the players that not hitting wars and not doing this, that, and the other. I just it's a really polarizing concept for me because when they made the second content patch and it's like they couldn't airdrop, which I ultimately do agree with. You don't
Yeah,
want
yeah.
people to airdrop these things, but
I,
now they
I,
can't pop anything at all.
yeah, kind of went. I do agree with removing the airdrop from that. I mean, that was for lack of
Yeah,
that was like a sack cheat. It's like, hey, bring my prime in here, everything,
it's a cheap set
and
because I think for me, I go use like Dreadwing and stuff. It's got pretty good range.
yeah,
Now I'm doing this very, very minimal amount of points if it's my first time because I'm only doing it the first time for a specific purpose, and that's to get to the back half of that base. So it has become more difficult, but
but I mean, I think I know that we were definitely excited with the primes when we saw it on the Twitch on the team Twitch stream, and then when
yeah,
we got them in the playtest, we're like, oh, new toys finally. And I think it was just you, me, and Waza that broke it down to the team because they just told us, here's guys, this is literally the truth. We literally got the primes installed on playtest, and they said test the mechanics of the prime. This is what we need you to test. Make sure it deploys here. Make sure it does this, and make sure it does damage when it lands. That was it. We got nothing regarding the Requiem Blaster. We got nothing regarding the Prime Lab. None of that. And of course,
I will say they did give us that later, but they did give us that for me personally. I can't speak for everybody. They did give us that later in ample little amount of time. But I was like, why didn't you lead off with that? I will say that.
yeah,
Why didn't you lead off with that? Like whole package. And the biggest complaint that I have about testing primes and play tests is like, bro, you gotta take time to level them. So like I'm showing this stuff on the
yeah.
stream, and I was like, yeah, it's at level 40, bro. Like I'm not gonna sit up there in playtest just hitting. First off, you
No,
can't because
no,
if you keep
because some of our
it,
squads are powerful that we can't get our prime. We can't get enough ability points
it's
to hit
not
our
even
primes.
that.
But
In playtest, you'll run out of bases to hit in playtest. It's a
true,
really small server.
yeah.
So it's just like, bro, this is what we got. You know, uh, it just got that part got really aggravating. But at the same time, I started looking at it and I was like, I think we could have did better on that regard. Be like, hey, this is what the max version looked out. I was happy to see a couple of weeks ago that they put like a max version, I think, in the newsletter or
Um,
something like that.
they
Or Solus, for
for so
Solus.
for yeah for Solus they gave us right off the get go, right after I had gotten there, because I know that you, me, and Waza got them before everybody else did. And I said,
Sure.
I'm going to need them at least. I'm going to at least need my Solus at least level 60, and they gave it to me at 65. So I wasn't going to complain with that. I was like, hey, I can work with this. I can tool with this. But yeah, the primes have been a mixed bag in my opinion. I mean, they're great. They're definitely enhancing the lore of both the game as well as the franchise. But at the same time, it's like, all I don't need another NPC on my squad. I've already got a Titan. I've got a Combiner. And a Combiner is an NPC to a limited range. I mean, I can tell it what to do and where to go. I can't even do that with a Prime after I launch it. So I mean,
And
and they seem very, very underwhelming. I don't want them to be completely and utterly overpowered, but they should have a boost compared to the regular bots. I mean, running Megatronus or Solus, there's real no benefit to my team in that regard, except for Solus gives the ability point every time that she cycles. But
so this is my take. And so I'll just start out because I suspect that's the take that you want to come out of me when we first started talking. I don't have anywhere nearly the amount of contempt that the rest of the community has for the primes. At
okay,
all. Like, hey, point blank, end of discussion. Like, I don't. And
well,
so,
I'm not
like,
trying to say that they're bad. They're good.
right.
I'm not.
No,
I'm,
and I didn't say you. I said the rest of the
yeah.
community because like there's been members of the community that are saying that there's like there's some butt, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
for sure. I'm
I
sure you have seen that too. I mean, you're a moderator and everything. As I
yeah.
said, I'm sure you've seen a lot.
Oh,
You know,
some of the things would terrorize you. And you've been in the
but
military, so I mean, let's just leave it at that. I've known Marines that would have gone white with some of the stuff that we've dealt with. Uh,
but for me personally, and listen, you got to listen to everything that I've been saying, up to this point. I'm real big on support type bots and stuff like that, and any little small advantage. So with like Megatronus, as I started to level him up, I was just like, hey, you know, I get out of position or something with, one of my three warriors that I have on my war squad and whatever. Now, so I can stick him out front, let him just take the damage or whatever, and then I can recover. You know, with Solus, it's like, hey man, I'm gonna get some healing and stuff going. On top of the other healing that I got going and stuff like that. I think it's just too early to know how it's gonna go, but I do understand why people are upset. These are the primes, man. Like from a lore standpoint, they're supposed to be dominant, and now they're just kind of. Wazos, I think, said it best. He's like, yeah, they're basically large combat bots,
Pretty
and
much.
he's not.
He's
He's
not
not
wrong.
wrong. He's not wrong. It's just that for my play style, it's really something that I can adapt to. And at the end of the day, man, we got two of them. Man, we got 11 of these MFers left, man. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. And one thing I will say, like I said at the start of this, the evolution from how they deployed Megatronus with the bot and then the artifact, I think that was flawed from the get go. I think that was a shot in the foot, which really did not go over well with a lot of people. Especially when
100%.
especially when the majority of the playtesters, we got the bot, we got the artifact, we got the spark, we got all the resources we needed to get it to a workable level fairly quick. And then turn around and here's the Solus event, And they really hadn't told us what we were to expect with the event, from a playtest point of view. They're just like, we're launching Solus, thanks for your feedback, guys. And we're just like, we just got the damn Prime, what the hell, And then it was, as we saw it launched, I saw, hey, there's my 300, I got my Solus, hey, oh damn, they gave me the Forge right off the get-go. That was how Megatronus should have gone. It should have been Megatronus, and then the next milestone should have been the Requiem Blaster, so that you could parallel level them at the same time,
The only thing that was really different to me, and it's not trying to excuse them, that's not, a lot of people think that I'd be trying to excuse the team, and that's not the case, is that, the first hit's free, right? And
yeah,
so
definitely.
the first one they put into, let's be honest, they put them into a campaign, and I think that was deliberate. They was like, look, we don't want it, and I talked about it earlier, the expanding new player community.
Yeah.
They said we want everybody to have a Prime. I think and this is just my prediction. I think the Primes as they go along are going to get better, and I think that they said, well, this one, this one's gonna be this. Megatronus. It sucks because of Megatronus, you can put this dude in movies and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
He's gonna be doo-doo Prime, and then there's gonna be good Primes. I think that there's a part of them that says, well, we want to attach them to the name, Megatronus Prime, call them whatever you want to call them, and then they're just gonna continue to go on. And the rest of them are probably going to be much better because they're going to, let's be honest, they're going to hear us talking right now, and they can be like, shit, just.
Uh-oh. They're on to us,
I said they're going to look at the chat and they're going to be like, yeah, the Primes are some butt, and
yeah.
And they're going to make changes, and they're going to make changes according to how the wars are going at that point in time, and. We're going to probably get a little gap because, one of the ways I know we're going to get a gap is because, we're starting to look at combats again.
Yeah, and which I'm actually glad to see that we're getting some, I don't want to say more complex, but more robust combats down the line. They're not just one-offs anymore. They're actually doing something, which I am excited about. I don't know if it's going to be good this year. I can hope, but at the end of the line, our say only goes so far, which a lot of people don't realize, or if they do realize it, which most of our chat does, we can only drill it into them so far before they either get tired of hearing from us and are just like, we're done.
From the tracks in the chat, bro. Like, he's really cracking up that I said doo-doo Primes. Listen. Like I said, that first hit free, man.
Yeah. But I mean, but the one thing that a lot of people tend to forget, one thing a lot of people tend to forget about is that, after they do, they have their own little glass onion that they deploy on, and then they see how it really went, and then they make refinements from them. And a lot of people don't see what they're doing now. They're still looking back at how Megatronus launched, not how Solus launched. That type of thing. So there is progress being made, but that's cracking. That is fucking cracking me up. Sorry.
But listen. The world of progress they made from Megatronus to Solus, that's huge.
It's gargantuan. It's not. It doesn't even seem like the same.
But people are not acknowledging that, like that gap. And the thing is, I ain't even, because I've just been kind of out of it. I ain't even level my Solus as much as I probably should have. But the gap is really, really large, and that's and I think that because there's 11 more of them to go, the possibilities are endless, and I was and I get it, man. Nobody wants when you do a reveal of something, a new concept, it should be just explosive, like fireworks would come out of the sky and stuff like that. Like I get it, I get why people feel that way. I genuinely do. It's just that I you know what? You got 11 more times to get it right, man. Like just
Yeah,
point blank.
and I honestly think they did a far better job with Solus than they did with Megatronus. I completely agree with
Yeah.
that. They really really did, because Megatronus were like, okay, we know how this is supposed to work. We know how this is gonna kind of work, but at the same time, it was like, but what are you guys gonna? How are you gonna do it for the second round? Because if we're doing this Megatronus launch all over again, that's not going to jive. I could tell you that right now. That was not going to fly by any means. Do it, adding
Sure.
another storyline to it and all this other stuff. When honestly, I feel that the way that they launched Solus Prime is how they should have done it. And they should, in my opinion, continue deploying it like this. This was, in my opinion, a great, great Prime launch. Solus was awesome. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
everybody had a chance to get her. It didn't matter what level alliance you were in. You got a chance to get her. And
Well, and I guess the thing is now is like we didn't know what that was going to look like because Megatronus was free. So now
yeah,
we got a baseline, and now we got a tool that we can use to hold the team accountable. Be like, if they try to go change the event going forward, be like, you know, I'm not gonna use the words that I was gonna use, but I'd be like, hold on. I'd be like, hold on. Like when you did this, and you know what? Y'all send us newsletters. I said I got receipts.
yeah,
Now we can go. We got a leg to stand on and be like, well, this is the standard. What are you guys doing?
yeah. And I think at least from what I've seen on our side, the playtester side of things, we are starting to see that streamlined ability and that deployment progression come to finally come to fruition. I think Waza said it last week or last week.
Yeah.
If we got the bots about a month's time out of deployment, we'd have plenty enough time to test it, test various scenarios, groups, synergies, all that with it, do a major bug hunt sweep, and then 2 weeks later, you, me, him, and Soldier all get to, broadcast, hey, here's the new bot. And we can tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between.
Yep.
Between before launch. And I honestly, and
Yep.
we are starting to see that finally. I mean, we had a pretty good launch earlier this year with one of the bots.
Yeah.
We're just like, this is what we're talking about. This is the format we need to follow. And we didn't have any problems. We had a good launch. There were no bugs when the bot launched this year. But at the same time, I get that they want to put stuff out quick, but there's there's quality versus quantity, and I'd rather have quality versus quantity.
100%. 100%. Yeah, nah, I agree with you. But I tell you what, man, like, and not to take over here, but like,
No.
what do you want to see in 2026?
Oh man.
What's burning? What's burning for you that you want to see?
Well, one of them, as you already know, we're getting that brand new combat, which I will spoil at the end of the stream, guys. So hold on, just keep watching a little bit longer. You'll get a glimpse of them. I'm finally glad that we're getting that particular combat.
Yeah, agreed.
It's been too long, in my opinion. I'd also like to see a cross-factional combiner. Somebody like
Ooh.
Monstruct or Shockdown
Ooh.
as combiners, so that because as you know, and I know you've heard it, everybody says it every freaking week
Yeah.
that they want to be able to do cross faction or play the alt faction combiners. Give us a combiner that does both factions.
That'd be dope.
So that way it's not the hit on the resources for like Or 13 or anything, because it's just one more combiner instead of two, or one, or running dupes of both factions. That way, just give us that one combiner in that regard, that can play against anybody and everybody. I would love definitely to see that. I would definitely love to see Tidal Wave and HQ19 come out this year. Now, I don't want either one of them rushed.
Yeah.
I know HQ19 is going through a lot of stuff as we discussed in the early part of this stream, but I don't want HQ19 to be like HQ17 or 18 was, where it was rushed and then they've got to do patches on the buildings and they got to run patches on the bots because the patches on the buildings. You know, I want something a little bit more cohesive than we got with 17 and 18. I would definitely love to see our new defensive building, the Siren Beacon, come into play before HQ19. I am both holding out my heart for that because I recommended a building similar to that, except mine was bifunction. It could repulse or draw you in. Back in the HQ16 days, I think I actually mentioned it on one of your streams a long ass time ago. That's a building that we should have. And
that's what bothered me, is because like I actually said, hey, it's like, hey, we got a thing and it's on play test and it'll probably come soon. Nothing.
And then it's gone.
So,
and
then it's gone.
And I don't know if I would really love to see that building come back and get some momentum behind it, because there is an interest for it. It doesn't have to necessarily be a repulsor and an attractor. It can be two detractors. You know, just keep knocking back bots out of the way, which would make defenses and offenses considerably more strategic and a lot more engaging. Another thing I'd like to see is, and the team has been getting better about it, except for the Christmas break, but their communication actually has been going out better. You know, people are actually beginning to see that they're putting stuff out now rather than just through us. You know, we're not the media outlet. And the team communication has been better at the end of the year. You know, this last maybe mid third quarter to fourth quarter has definitely been better. I am also relieved that Calum is staying with us as a community manager. That's a huge one, because I was like, no, I don't want Calum to leave again. And fortunately, they got that all straightened out with his contract and stuff. So I was relieved to see that Calum was staying. Another thing I would love to see is like a resource converter, a generic resource, a generic one, not just like the power core converter we have. Like if you need alloy, you convert energon into alloy. If you want to take your prime shards and turn them into 3-star, 4-star, 5-star shards, do it that way. Just, you know, like you pick and it'll output, and of course the quantities will vary from there on, you know.
Man, listen, I hear what you're saying, and I agree. One thing they could do for me is if they daggone spark converter.
Yeah.
Point blank. But before anything else, do that, because here's the thing. I got to the point, and I don't always just speak explicitly for me. I try to speak for the community, because I look at all angles.
We all try to.
But man, like you play the game long enough, you just gonna have so much spark. I remember when I was a noob, you had to go do wars to make sure you had enough spark to support your bots. And then they started having spark in every single event. And you just sit there and that's like, oh, I'm at 4 million. Let me go just throw some spark.
And remember, we used to have individual spark for each combiner. We didn't get universal spark until like the 5th or 6th combiner came out. So I mean, we had to fight. We had to fight for Devastator spark and Bruticus spark, and
100%.
It was crazy.
Yeah. And that's all I'm saying. Is like, and I think when compacts came out, I think the fear, because you know when they started out there was only 5 of them.
Yeah.
Well, we got a lot more than 5 of them now.
Yeah, we're 42, 43 of them now, not including the weapons. Not including the weapons.
And that's what I'm saying. can get in here and do some conversion. I don't even care if you overcharge us for them. There's things that they overcharge us for in terms of the rank system.
Oh,
Somewhat overcharged.
very much so overcharged. I think from Major in general, they're just they're unrealistic in that regard.
That's what I'm saying. It would be easier to go and have the character shards than it would be to try to gain all the 5-star shards for that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, and I'm saying even if you did it like that, that would be something that would be better than what we currently have.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I know that there are players like you, me, Cheeto, Sharksy, Trax, who are all sitting on Prime Core shards. We can't do anything with them because we don't have the 13th Alpha Trion defense core. And that's only 5. That's only going to be minuscule.
Don't bring that up.
compared to what we have already stashed. So even when we get that missing core, okay, we're going to have a surplus of this stuff that we're not going to be able to do anything with. And it would be nice to be able to convert that.
But you know what? That 13th one, that's on us. That's on us as play testers. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
If you were there at that time, but that's like, man, we had an idea that was good, and we just said, yeah, we don't want that because it doesn't look like that. And I had that conversation with Waza a lot because I was like, well, if you go in there and you make Alphatron, basically the Alphatrons could possibly cancel each other out.
Yeah.
So you gotta put that into account, and ultimately at the end of the day, like the idea they had, I thought was good because it was something that was everybody want to make. Top players want to make defense better. I think the idea they had to go extend the range would have made defense better because people would have started using it on the MDS. And, they probably started using on the minigun MDS. We at least owe it to ourselves to test it and see. And if it's cheeks, it's cheeks. Just say, hey man, like, I got my keyboard in front of me right now. I was like, hey, I'm a play tester. This is cheeks. Here's the reason why this is cheeks.
Yeah. And
it should have went like that and not like we're gonna shut it down because you guys had a negative response to. No, but like this is cheeks. These are the 13 reasons why it is cheeks.
And I mean, it was just like with one of the more recent things that were going on in playtest. Dale called me out for being negative just for being negative, and I'm like, Dale, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm giving you honest, reliable feedback. If it's coming off as negative, then it's negative feedback. But take it to heart because this is something that is going to affect everybody.
For sure.
And I think it was in regards to the December patch. I was like, we cannot have a repeat of June at all. If the game goes down because of the patch and people are bogging out, wigging out, let them do that. Let them don't even try to contain that circus. But if it happens like June did, it's going to be a disaster.
Let's be honest though. Sometimes it's us. Because like, bro, the first content patch. So we already talked about Leo, Prano, and Predacon Inferno. There was like the Luge and Beachcomber that a lot of people still are using.
Yeah.
But then you got Swindle and Sunstreaker. You wind up getting Scavenger and Rust Dust. You started wind up getting a lot of these bots. People started using Hook. And
I mean it
with the Autobot one.
Hook is Ratchet. Hook is Ratchet.
Hook and Ratchet. And now, of course, that's changed because now some people, I had a couple of people in my alliance is like, oh man, the ability change, bro. The stats on Hook and Ratchet. I told them, hey, I'll tell them myself. I say, y'all might should just change the stats down a hair. You can keep it higher than it was.
Yeah, but yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, we yeah, I remember that whole
yeah,
convo. And that was, it was just nuts. They were like, they were, and yes, that was on us too because we did want a decent playable bot, but at the same time, they were trying to see it that we were trying to overpower this bot, and we're like, no, we're just trying to bring this up to the bare minimum that you guys set. And I have full respect for Kube and Dale and Kalem and the rest of the team. They're great guys. They do listen to us. Most of them do listen to us, and sometimes they take things a little too personal, which I get. We all do, especially when we're tired and exhausted and we've been dealing with a lot of stuff. Everything that seems general can seem personal, like a personal attack. But
yeah,
but at the end of the day, I think there was the beginning of the year really started off rocky. Like it was on the rocks. It was the ship was reefed.
it did.
And it was like, what's going to happen with the game throughout this year, and then we had the added controversies that we really didn't need, for just general attention. That's how I feel it was. It was just general attention seeking, and then
And you know what? How you feel? A lot of it's right. Like you know, and I sent something out to my members about the controversy, and my problem wasn't with you know particular creator. It's about the fan base because it's been consistent since like I said, I've been doing the content creating stuff for 4 years. One of the things that a lot of people will say is like, hey, people got a lot of there's only room for one
yeah.
attitude. But
Sorry, Freezius. I was just reading over Trax's comment about if I call you a moron, it's personal. Got me cracking up. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, bro.
Nah, I mean, Trax gonna say Trax stuff, man. Trax is hilarious. I say shout out to him. He's probably one of my favorite people in the game.
Yeah.
So
I love having I love talking with him because he automatically, even if we're making the same point, he will just on principle take the opposite side of where I am. If I like it, he hates it. If I hate it, he likes it. We can never, even when there was one.
Track's gonna make you think, man.
Oh
Track's
yeah.
gonna make you think, yeah, for sure, man. But no, seriously though, like,
But no, sorry, he just got me derailed. So.
But with the content creator stuff, man, like, look, I'm all for, when I first got in, and Soldier poured pretty much everything he could into me to help me grow and stuff like that. So I just always wanted to pay it forward. Waza started pouring to me after that and stuff like that. So I just always wanted to duplicate that. So like for some of these viewers, it's like, oh man, well a viewer would be like, I'm a CF fan and not a Freeze fan, and I'm like, what? Like
Yeah,
bro, like we all got different takes. We all got different strategies. Like you could learn a lot from it instead of just being like, you go pull the new button. Like, is this good? Instead of looking at, all of our content.
I mean, a lot of people ask me, "Hey, what do you think of this bot?" And I'll be like, "It does." I generally will preface it with, "It doesn't fit my play style," but that aside.
Yeah.
I can see the potential in how Freezius uses it. And actually, there was one that I did with, I think it was with your Quake video or something. Somebody was asking me about Quake, and I was like, I am not particularly fond of Quake, but check out Freezius' video, and I sent them the link to it, and I said, he goes over it beautifully. It might help you, it might not, might help you make a decision, but I said, I'm going to leave my personal bias out of it, because I mean, I knew I was pissed off with Quake and Gears, and that really seeped over. It really did. It was like, don't mention that bot to CF because he's gonna blow.
Nah, and that's what I'm saying. And it's like, man, like when I go look at some of the strategies that you use, that Waza used, you know what I'm saying? Soldier up there now, and some of the strategies he used. I just be like, man, like, and a couple other content creators, unofficial content creators.
Yeah, like
And like,
Croto and Reshi. They
oh
do
man,
good
oh
stuff.
Croto was so good, man. Check out Croto channel, man. If you
Yeah.
guys hadn't seen, man, like
Seriously, Croto does a great job.
he got some stuff, man. Like, it's a couple times he caught me off guard. Croto got some stuff, but like, you know, when you start looking at some of these guys, you know, Twilight Tier got some stuff. You know, it's a bunch of guys.
I don't pay attention to Twilight anymore. I just see this in chat now. You know, it's just like, oh, okay, Twilight's off on his thing. And Twilight, I'm messing around, bro. Don't take it personally. I'm just messing with you, bro. I actually do listen to Twilight quite a lot. You know, I listen to him. We have convos, just like you and I have convos.
Detailed. He's so detailed too. Like both of you guys, you and him, and just like I think y'all would be best friends because you guys are just extremely detailed. You know, I'll just be in there just breezing in the wind, and I'll just be like, oh, you know,
he mentioned
blah 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 concept.
Yeah, he mentioned something to me about one bot, and I was like, where the hell are you finding this info? And he's like, right here. And he's like, he took a screenshot, he circled it for me. He's like, right there, dude, right there. How did you miss it? And I was like, ha, you know. And then I realized that my game hadn't updated to the version he had, so I didn't have the update. So I was like, okay. So yeah, but I think 2025 started off really, really rough, but I think it came to a good conclusion overall. We didn't get the best content that we really wanted this year, but you know, we say that every year. It's kind of like a redundancy at this point. I mean, we got some good stuff, but there nothing, in my opinion, that was like fireworks worthy.
Well, no, I mean, like when you start off the year not even knowing if you're gonna have a studio or not.
Yeah, that's stressful.
The best thing that came out of this year, I think, was Tip Top.
Yeah, great combat. I think that was the combat that we had like the 3 weeks to go over, and I think that reflection time. Actually, let me go through my. It was Tip Top. It was Tip Top that we had like the 3 weeks to go over him with. So
and
yeah,
they did that. They did and this is what I say when I say that I'm seeing like patterns with certain stuff, because then they, you know, with Cosmos and mind wiping the rework, and then there's like, hey, we've got Demolisher here, you know, to help you out, and even though I don't particularly, you know, me and Cheeto.
Again, the two shit stirrers, yeah.
Yeah, you know, we start looking at that, and I was just like, all right, well, but you know what? They gave you opportunities to give yourself an out for this stuff, because let's be honest, when you go put hacking on a content like combat like that, it gets really really difficult to read when they're in the outpost, because
and especially when you've got multiple things around it, it can blur the map easily. Yeah,
it's not even that. I mean, well, it is that. But, like, you know, you got them looking with the same animations that you have for Flak and Crater Maker, and then all of a sudden now you're hacked, and it's just like, well, you could go use your combiner, but you could have already used your combiner because somebody's got, like, Computron and Lyle Kaiser or something like that, and it's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It gets tough to read.
It can sometimes, but they did clarify a lot of the icons, although it seems like Glass Gas and Disable like overlap now. Sometimes you'll get a Glass Gas icon when somebody's supposed to be disabled, and vice versa. I've seen that, and I've seen a lot of the visual effects, not just the new war effects, but also a lot of the Titan effects, especially on the 5 stars. The 4 stars still seem pretty solid, but like throwing down some of the abilities on the 5-star Titans, you don't see it happen. All you see is the damage that occurred. You're like, did it work? And then you see the countdown, and you're like, where the hell did it happen? You know, did it even go to where I wanted to? And another minor one I've experienced, and I think Dread81 and we were talking about this on Discord. Um, we had problems on both my phone as well as on Google Play Beta and my LD player of being able to target properly. Like the target would be off like 2 or 3 grids. It was crazy.
Right.
I've had that happen to me a couple of times, especially when using a combiner, any combiner. But that seemed to have gotten resolved recently because I did a couple of runs this weekend, and I've been running my Dino King on offense right now, which is, I still think he's still a great combiner. I mean, people have other opinions because they haven't gotten them yet, or they've only gotten like 4/5 of them or something like that. So they haven't been able to properly test them or use them, but I find him to be a great omnidirectional combiner. He's great on defense and he's great on offense. He's really one of the few, in my opinion, that do that. You know.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep it honest with you because I keep seeing his name come up in the chat, and people probably already hate me for it or might hate me for it later. I still use God Neptune Ruination.
Yeah, he's not as bad as when the patch originally came out. He has been improved. He has been improved, and actually, just recently, I just unlocked his 5-star because I'm not chasing any 5-star combiner right now. It just happened in the batch that I got him, and I was like, all right, fine, whatever, and. I went back and I revisited him using the 5-star at level 25, and I was like, okay, I can see how people have a problem with the 5-star ability on live, but the 4-star's not bad. I don't like the new mechanics changes that they did to the combiners. The cooldowns is great. I love the 30-second cooldown because now we can kind of stack some abilities depending upon the ability you use. But the whole mechanics changes of flipping where the on death effect occurs as opposed to like 4-star or 5-star. I honestly think that is one of the things that should float. If you have the 4-star, then the on death occurs on the 4-star. If you have the 5-star, it occurs on the 5-star. You know, but I can understand how people can also get confused by that too. But no, I've noticed that Ruination and God Neptune, they've actually been severely improved from where they were in June when the buff came out, and I know they're never going to be the beautifully broken combiner that we loved and learned, but they're not in a bad place in my opinion.
Well, here's the thing, and this goes back to what I said, and and like the conversations I had with Wazoo and everything else like that. Like, I love survivability and distraction for a lot of my bots, and so at the end of the day, God Neptune and Ruination still got holograms, and so there's some things that I'm looking at from a pattern standpoint. Laser MDS can hit up to 3 things, right? How many holograms you got up here? God, Neptune and Ruination.
Yeah, 4 and 5. So you still got one thing that is still free.
That's what I'm saying. The thing is, if I'm using that on offense, they're gonna, as long as those holograms are alive, and they improve the health on the hologram. So I was like, I looked at that. I said, shoot, they're gonna have more health, and then they're not gonna be attacking my team. I started looking at stuff like when the holograms got more health, and I saw some comments saying where, they're disagreeing with us, it's not an improvement, but they did improve the health and took away, I think what happened is a lot of people want the combiner to just be able to just
one stomp a base, yeah.
But that's like, and don't get me wrong, we were able to do that with God Neptune at one point. We were using it for all the events. We were using it for all that stuff. It sucks. Particularly the events. I really get more mad about the events than anything because with the events, it's like the events to me are supposed to be somewhat easy. The difficulty in events comes with the volume of how many battles you have to face. It shouldn't be you shouldn't be fighting multiple war battles in an event. Like you got to go do it again and again and again. And like, I don't like that. You know, we ain't got enough combats and bots to go do that.
No, and I mean, I think average wise, we're still at about a 1/3 ratio of bots versus combats, and that's even including the 4 weapons that we have. You know,
For sure.
we're about 100 and I'm going to round up, say 120 bots in to the game, and we've got just about 1/3 of that, about 60 of that in combats. So I mean, we're bordering on just about being able to have one combat per bot, but we're not there yet. And I'm not saying to the studio that we need flooded content of combats.
No.
No, we don't. I'm not saying we need a combat for every bot, because I don't honestly think we do. Especially if you've got like a fracas or a nightstick. I know people double stack on those. They'll put a 5-star and a 4-star, and if they have one available that's a good level, they'll even throw a 3-star on there. I don't.
For sure.
I'm not shunning them that perspective, because hey, it works. It's a good combat. It does what it's supposed to, and you got 3 bots on your team that can do that. But I think we definitely do need some more combats for 26. I'm not saying that they have to be solely combats for content, but we definitely do need some more combats, and good ones. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, what we're seeing from our newest combat is wonderful. This is what a combat bot should have been, in my opinion. And I'm finally glad to see that we're getting it there, and
Yeah.
and it's just also refreshing to see that. I don't know how you're feeling about this initial equipability with this new combat, and they'll probably change that. And guys in the chat and watching the video, do realize that right now the equipability for this combat bot that we're talking about is across the board. It picks up on every bot. Doesn't matter if they're as long as they're within your faction, they'll do it. They'll even attach to the mercs too, which is a really nice and slightly frustrating dynamic, because at this point I'm going to show it to everybody now, Freeze. I think
Go for it.
I think it's fair. I think we've teased them long enough, and
Hey man, listen. By all means, go for it.
all right, chat and watchers. The combat coming up for us cons is Ratbat. We've been asking for him for years.
No.
I think we even asked for Ratbat before we got Ravage, if I recall correctly. I mean, when we had I think it was like in year 3 or year 4, and the combats were still young. They're like, "What combat do you want to see?" And it was Ratbat across the board, at least for us cons. The bots you guys are going to be getting Sundor, which is like a gold laser beak. He looks kind of cool.
He's cool as fuck.
And their ability right now is getting a lot of positive feedback. I don't want to say it's great feedback, but it's positive on the way of we're liking how this bot is working. We're liking where this bot can go. I don't know how you feel about it, Freeze, but the one thing that kind of gets to me right now is that this bot is available for every single bot in your collection. I'm not sure how I feel about that at the moment. I want to say I think it's a good thing, but too many people are going to ask, hey, can I use it on this? Can I do it with this? And it's going to be like, it goes on everything. Use it how you're going to do it.
I mean, they build them, from what I could see, primarily as like a minion. and like you know, I have my concerns on how that could be used, and I probably need to try to approve them a little bit more and play test or whatever. But the combat's fire, bro. Like he's not like literally fire. He's tough, you know.
Oh yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
I'm I'm
but
waiting I'm waiting to see what refinements they do in the new year. When we
yeah,
finally when they finally get around to doing the refinements that we've suggested, and when that
right.
occurs, that's really going to either make or break this combat for me, in my opinion. Because I really think that that's how they're going to do this combiner, or sorry, this combat. My brain's running at a million miles a second right now. um, is just I think that's going to define how good or how bad we're going to perceive this combat to be. And I mean, I really want it to be a good combat, and I think I just screwed it up. I screwed up my screens. Of course.
Nah, yeah, man. What are you trying to show?
I'm
Because your
screwing.
screens look good.
Oh, okay. Because my I was trying to show the new combat from the newsletter, but it wasn't showing up right.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, when you get the combat from playtest up there,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's very explicit. So
yeah. And I mean, I'm honestly, I'm really loving the usage of Ratbat finally as a combat bot that we're all going to be able to have and use. And it's gonna it's gonna be a very well received combat, I think, even if it's not a great one or a good one. But I don't want to see what we got in 2025, where it started off great as an idea, and then when it came around to getting it in the game, it was like, this is not at all what we tested.
but you know what? Like most of the stuff that comes out starts out as a good concept. Yeah, man. Like we'll use your boy Quake.
Yeah, great
Great
concept.
concept. Just do that little bit of extra to push it over the top. Like almost every time they come out with anything, I'm like, yeah, it's a great concept.
Let's see what it's actually. I don't know
You
whether I've
you
gotten
need this
cynical.
one thing, yeah,
I don't know whether it's I've been around long enough, and I'm just like, yeah, I know what's gonna come. I want to see what the near final product is gonna be before I submit any comments or anything back. But I've been kind of vocal on Ratbat. I like exactly where he's going with it. I like his damage increase. He's got mad health for a companion. I mean, I know that in my screenshot guys on playtest, it shows him as a shield. He is actually a companion class, so he's going to be a cassette.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's gonna be fun.
and the information on the screen is subject to change. Just hopefully it doesn't change too much, because I kind of like where he's at right now. He could
I
do,
mean, the information on the screen says he's Sundor, so which is technically true,
yeah.
but no.
Well,
But they
like I
gotta,
said, hopefully
long
it'll
story
change.
short, they gotta change some stuff.
Yeah,
But
but I of course when I heard that we were getting him, I took off my old combat on 5-star Soundwave on playtest, and I was like, this guy's going on my 5-star Soundwave. if he's not if he's not equipable to be on my 5-star Soundwave, it's a waste of a combat right then and there. And
yeah, for sure.
I know that was like a very narrow scope to judge the greatness of a combat on, but I was like, no. Ratbat needs to be equipable, the Soundwave at least. And
Hey, listen, when you know, you know. It's been times when I was like, yeah, this is where that goes. And you know what? I embrace that because it shows that you know the game. It shows that you know the game. It shows that the strategies you use are working. So, like, I appreciate that you saying that out here into the public.
oh yeah, and I mean, and then in the chat I see exactly where Cheeto's coming from. That he's not a big fan of companions. I totally understand that, because some companions will just run off and deploy, do their own thing while they're supposed to be a companion for this bot. A couple of them do that. So I can understand his hesitation and his apprehension in that regard. But from my testing of Ratbat, that hasn't happened yet, and I don't believe they have fixed the visuals on the con side yet for the game. Because when I was trying to debug it, I couldn't see Ratbat getting deployed or anything yet. So that'll probably come when the team returns. But I think overall, and looking over my notes and having this discussion with you, Freeze, I think my notes were a little harsh about how I rated the year, and seeing all the feedback from the guys in chat, I'm going to increase my initial feeling of how I felt 2025 went. I was originally grading it as like a D, which is like just above failing. And for those that don't know the American grading scale, we've got A, which is best, B, which is above average, C is average, D is below average, and F is an absolute fail. I actually have to say, I think I'm going to give this overall, given the perspectives everybody gave in chat and our discussions and stuff, I think I'm going to increase my original D to a C. I think 2025, it had its challenges, it had its high points, it had its low points, but overall, it wasn't bad. I think the community was just tired of the lack of communication, and a lot of the promises that were made in the content patch were made, but not initially like they originally wanted. It trickled down after some subsequent fixes and stuff, which we had to adjust for, because on playtest is the ideal server environment we have.
Yeah.
But and live had like 4 different versions of instances going on, so I can understand the hiccups there. But I think Trax is asking, what about Waza scale, the S tier? I would probably grade it as a what would be the equivalent to a C? That would be like a mid tier. So a mid tier, 2025 was mid at best. I mean, it really did have some low lows, and it had some really good highs, but it seemed just like we coasted through the year. I mean, I actually had to go back through some of my videos to remember what the hell we had going on this year. That's just how I felt it went. It was just like, okay, another year down. What the hell did we do?
Yeah, and honestly, I gotta agree with your total assessment. I said I'd probably give it a C, primarily because, like, I do understand, like, we're human, right? I understand everything that was going on with, having to find a new studio and stuff like that. I get where they were coming from. I do think that there were still things after you had a studio. There's a lot of autonomy that comes back to the team now with Yodo that they didn't have with Space 8.
Yeah.
And I still think there was stuff they could do better, but I definitely think there's stuff that they could have did worse.
Oh yeah, but and I have to say that at least on the end of the year, before the holiday break and everything, I was seeing that improvement. It was like the last minute scale just before the clock ran out of, we need extra points, let's push this Hail Mary, and it pulled and it worked off. I mean, we got to see a lot better communication from all levels. We saw it from the cyber store, we saw it from the playtest, we saw it from the community side. It was just like it finally they finally understood that what we were talking about and saw how that key clicked that lock, and finally gave them what they were looking for.
Right.
And but yeah, I think overall, I think 2025 is a C. A mid-grade year.
Yeah, I I mean, that's a good pragmatic way to look at it, and I'm looking at a couple of some of our mutual followers in there,
Yeah,
yeah,
we got Traps
giving
and
it a F.
Blade. Yeah,
I'm pretty consistent in regardless. Like I'm not going punch down on them too hard, but it's like there's definitely some things like my complaints are legitimate complaints and whatever, and there were some complaints for sure
oh,
this
we
year.
had a lot of them this year. I think
Yeah,
I think this year was like the year of complaints, so that's why I'm going with a C on it. It was the year of complaints. But no, I mean, and guys in the chat and stuff, and our followers,
hey,
remember, we're grading this on a lot more than what you guys also see. I mean,
I
Freeze
mean
and
like
I, we get to
Cheeto
see
used
stuff, you know.
Cheeto was a tester at one point, and
Yeah,
he's like, I agree with this. See, and the biggest thing that he said, new mistakes are fine, creating the same ones where I have a problem, and I think that's just the most point
that
blank
that
assessment.
that's the hit
Like
right there.
hands up, like that's
Cheeto
what it is when you're
Cheeto
doing
got
the
it.
same thing over and over. That Cheeto understood the assignment in this case. I think that's the most accurate one. Um, and I'm looking at some of the other comments, and it's just like when, and this is kind of where I land. If you are going like, and I'm not saying they give you a great platform to go in there and make complaints. I tell people this all the time because they want me to go tell the team. I'm like, bro, the team is
Guys,
open
yeah, you can go
to
do your own
listening.
thing.
Bro, listen, one of the things that I absolutely hate is to be like the team's not listening. It's like they're listening, but
If you're
they
saying
don't
the same
agree,
thing, if you're saying the same thing that 30 other people are, but you had to take it up that level and start using explicatives or derogatory statements, then yeah, you got ignored. You know, I mean, I've seen it 100 times. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, automotive, gaming, whatever. Feedback is good, whether it's negative or positive. It's feedback, so you are getting community engagement. The community is trying to tell us all, us, the play testers, the other players, everybody, the studio, of where we can improve. And I know that in terms of where the content creators and the play testers are, our hands are a little bit bound by that. We don't have to be, oh hey, the studio is great. Oh hey, the studio is good. They let us tell them how it is. You guys effed up. You guys fucked up. You know, here's
hey
how.
man, listen,
But
I don't say it as much as you guys, but they respond. And it's kind of like going back to what I was saying earlier. When I'm saying this fucked up, usually folks notice. And then it's like, oh, well, hold on. Let's take a look at this again.
yeah, well, like I said, in some cases, Freeze, they've been really, really good about that. But when it's like you, me, Waza, Cheeto, Twilight, Dread 81, I mean, when Blade 19, when it's all of us, not just the PTs and the creators, but even some of the players are coming back going like, you guys screwed the pooch on this. Here's how you can fix it, and we're all saying the same thing. You know,
That's what I've been telling people. Like, I've been telling folks for a while. I was just like, man, like, look, multiple voices are stronger than one voice. So, like, and a lot of folks, and I say that a lot of times, and folks are like, well, you tell them blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
and it's
hold
like,
on, let's talk. Let's talk our way through it. And I was just, so we can get on the same page because, like, what I don't want to do is go up there and try to repeat something and it's not the way that you wanted to be represented.
yeah, I mean, I can almost guarantee that almost everybody in the chat right now, including yourself, okay, we've all had disagreements and how things could be done and how to play it, whatever. But we've never crossed the line of saying you don't know what the f you're talking about. It's
Right.
this way. And then I've shared videos with guys like Twilight and Dread 81. I was like, I don't know how you're seeing it, but this is how I'm seeing it. and then they'll come back and say, "Oh, well, I just tried it this way. Now I'm seeing what you're seeing, but I like how I did it. So I'm sorry I went off on you. Yada yada yada." You know, and it's not a matter of us saying we're right, we're wrong, or anything like that. It's not. I'm honestly, I'm past the point of my fucking ego. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, same.
You know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll own up to it. Oh, hey, sorry, dude. I mean, I've come back a couple of times from the chats, from DMs, from being on the TFEW server, reading through mod logs, and I was like, dude, I'm sorry. You were right. I did not get the chance to tell you, but yeah, you were correct in this particular instance. Sorry, I fucked up on that. You know, I was thinking of a different bot.
Yeah.
And the guys know that it's bad that a lot of the guys know on the TFEW server that if it's a really heavy discussion and I'm working on one bot, almost every reply I make is regarding that one bot, despite the fact that the conversation's about a different one. You know.
Yeah.
But I think overall it was a decent year. It wasn't a great year, and I'm hoping that next year, 2026, we'll have some major improvements. And as always,
I learned a lot of lessons this year.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be better than 2025 for sure.
It's got to be because
If it's a repeat, we're in trouble.
Oh yeah, big time, and I hope it's not. But Freeze, bro, thank you for taking your Saturday to come collab with me on this thing, bro. I really appreciate it, as always.
Hey, not a doubt, Barry. And it don't always seem like I enjoy this stuff. I enjoy engaging with the community, and I enjoy engaging with you. You know what I'm saying? As my content creator, bro. And thank you for inviting me, bro.
Always. And I honestly wish that in a way we were able to get Soul and Waza in on this too, but I get they've got lives just like we do, so but again, I appreciate you coming on and hashing out all these facts, giving your point of view on things. And everybody in the chat, Blade 19, Trax, Cheeto, Firepower, Sharksea, Dread 81, our good bro Berserker's on here too. Thank you all guys for tuning in. Have a happy new year. Happy 2026. Let's all try to make it a better year this year.
For sure.
Well, Freeze, thank you again for coming on my channel. Guys in the chat, thank you for hanging out and making it through all the technical difficulties we started off with. Let's hope that's not a repeat. That's not a repeat occurrence. You know, I don't want that to be a foreshadow of things to come this year. Just everybody who participates in these chats and in these streams and everything else is just awesome, because you guys are the community that we engage with, that you hear our stuff, you see the struggles that we go through as creators, as play testers, as players, you know, and I think that's one of the major things a lot of people forget. We do play this too. We're not just concentrating on the new shit and the new stuff. We are playing it too, you know.
Hey, we don't work for the company.
And if we don't work for the company, I don't think they could afford either one of us. not with what we know and with what we could do, you know. So because I mean, you're a tool, I'm a tool, Waz is a tool. I think Soldier's the only one that's been left out of being called a tool for the company or a shell or something. You know.
Hey, look, I'm here for it. We Decepticons for a reason.
That's right. That's right. Oh man, but again, everybody, happy 2026. I hope everybody had a safe, good Christmas, Boxing Day, and New Year. And so I appreciate everybody showing up. And Berserk and Trax is right. I do actually want to work for the company, but they don't have a position that fits me. I mean, I did consider applying for their server dev position, and I was just like, nah, I don't want to do it. But best to you and Mrs. Freeze, of course, Freezius, and to best to everybody out there. You know, make sure to check out Freezius's, Waz's, Solja, my channel, obviously you guys are on. Definitely also check out Reshi Mine and Croto. Reshi does some some insane in-depth guides. I mean, it's crazy. I've even learned stuff. I have learned stuff from Reshi's guides, and I'm just like, where the hell did he find this little tidbit of information? And then I go through, and I was just like, it was right there the whole time. What the hell? So I definitely and Croto's got some mad war replays. If you guys are having trouble with friggin' war tactics, check out Croto's friggin' channel, man. I mean, really, he's got some mad stuff on there. But I'm gonna call it a night, guys. Thank you everybody for joining. Again, Waza, you're not Waza. Yeah. Again, Freezius. Yeah. See, he's gotten into me. The Smeghead's gotten into me now. But bro, have a good one. I'm
you too, man.
Fucking hell. I'm tired. I'm done. But everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I know that we didn't get to go over the chat so much. I mean, you guys did crack us up and derail us a few times, so good job on that side of things. And because I know sometimes we take stuff too seriously, and then we'll read chat and just lose it. Like you guys got us both this time, so that was a great job, great engagement. All right, well, everybody, here's the 2026, and let's make things better. Keep up the heroic nonsense, my friends.